Hello and welcome, I'm the Tin Man, and this is Call of Warhammer Beginning of the End Time, Wood Elf Lore and Tips. Disclaimer, I am not a lore expert on the Wood Elves, and I may have a very different way of playing games than you do, so take the lore and the tips with a grain of salt. The Wood Elves are based in the forest of Athel Loren, between Bretonnia and the Grey Mountains. This forest was created by the Old Ones themselves and was made the most grand and powerful forest that has ever been and will ever be. The forest itself seems to be a hotbed of chaos activity. Whether the tree spirits were created specifically by the Old Ones or they were just pure chaos that has been joined with nature is not fully known. But it is an unconfirmed theory of the Wood Elves that I do not personally have an opinion on. The Elves themselves are a separate colony from their mainland of Ulthwain that had then separated themselves when Ulthwain recalled all current colonies for battles and wars. But this was not the first time that the Elves had heard of Athel Loren. Athel Loren was once a beautiful and peaceful forest, full of spirits that would rather laugh than slay. The forest itself had spread its roots all across the world, and it eventually found Ulthwain and sent Durthu, an ancient elder of the forest, and other forest spirits as ambassadors of sorts to the Elves. Together they had created their own forest in Ulthwain as a sort of sign of a bond between the Elves and the forest. Many things happened that I will not be covering, but demons came and destroyed the forest in Ulthwain, and destroyed much of the forest of Athel Loren, and so Athel Loren was forever changed, and the bond between the Elves and the forest were destroyed for a time. But as the High Elves grew in power and explored the land, many Elves that were sent to colonize the Old World felt a pull inland, and eventually found Athel Loren and formed a colony within. Now, currently, the Wood Elves are led by Orion and Ariel, who are the manifestation of the elven gods Kurnos, the god of the hunt, and Isha, the god of fertility. However, there are many different warbands within the Wood Elves themselves that act independently until they are banded together. These different warbands live within the different regions of the forest and protect them from the many dangers of greenskins and beastmen hordes, and even the occasional dwarven foray. Now, let us go on to the mod itself. Now, obviously, the mod is not going to be able to accurately portray the Wood Elves' power and weaknesses, but it does very well indeed. When starting a campaign, you're going to require money, as elven units are very expensive, and you will find it difficult to field an army and protect your cities at the same time. Thankfully, there are two money stashes quite close in the form of Dwarven Karaks, Karak Izor and Karak Norn. Taking these will give you the funds to start new wars and expand. After this, you will need to take out the 4 Skaven cities, even though you do not start out at war with them. Do not let them live or expand, as they will become significantly harder to deal with. For they have waves upon waves of ratmen to throw at your units, and if left unchecked, they will just have innumerable hordes that will be a pain to deal with. There are also other ways to start expanding. You can just strike deep within Bretonnian lands, take out the rebels in Tilia or Estalia, or even take on the Empire. But you will need money to do all of that. Now to the battle. A very smart thing to do is to try to whittle down the enemy with as much ranged fire as you can. Your biggest enemy will be other ranged units, as the Wood Elves have little to no armor. So either outrange the enemy, or let the enemy target the heavy treekin and treemen. There are 2 types of tactics I use. Each requires a line of archers and a main line of melee force. The first tactic is to send the tree spirits between the 2 forces, specifically treemen and treekin, as dryads don't have the tankiness that you would require, allowing the enemy to surround and focus down the tree spirits and giving your archers time to whittle down the enemy, and then sending in your melee line as a shock force to break the already weakened enemy. The second tactic is to use quite a few Glade Riders. Set up your army in a good defensive position and then send your Glade Riders out to harass the enemy, focusing first on any ranged and cavalry units that they have. Once those are gone, you will have free range of the battle. either isolating units and then crushing them with a combined charge, or once running out of ammo, hanging back and waiting for the enemy force to get into combat with your main force, and then rear charging the enemy into oblivion. You preferably do not want pitched battles, as your wood elves will fall in battle quite easily, so try to take down as many of the enemy without using your main force. A third and more risky move is a full melee and shock force. Rush the enemy with your infantry and send any treemen, treekin, or wild riders around the enemy to then charge into the backs. This is an extremely risky strategy, however, as you may not be able to break the enemy as fast as you would like to, and therefore you may lose more men than you would normally do. Well, that is the end of this video. Any and all criticism is welcome as long as it is given in a civil tongue. Now, if I missed anything lore-wise or even campaign tip tricks-wise, or you don't agree with my strategies, then just let me know down in the comments. I would like to see the way other people play that I may use to crush my foes more easily. Now, any factions that you want to see next, just comment them down below in the comment section, where you comment, and let me know, and I'll probably do them, or I'll probably do something else. I don't know. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed. I will see you next time, and goodbye.